I wanted to share some just practical lessons about what it's like to really manage a growth in a growth industry and manage a business that's growing. And the title we spoke about was Managing Rapid Growth, but I did put a subtitle on that because it's not for the faint-hearted. This is not easy. It's much harder to manage in a growth environment than it is to manage one that's not growing. That might be counterintuitive, but I'd like to go through that in some ways. People just assume that growth is going to continue in a linear fashion. It doesn't. And it's important to take advantage of both the up and the downturns. And so when I look at that, when you are growing, you've got to seize the day. This is the time to invest and double down where you have momentum in the marketplace. There's no better time to go to a board, to your CEO, to your business leader and make a case for investing in a new product, new solution, more capability than when you are actually demonstrably growing in the market. If you do not take advantage of that, I can guarantee you're not going to get that opportunity again when you're going sideways or there's a downturn. The other big challenge, and ultimately perhaps it was the biggest of the lot, and anybody who's been through growth in an organisation will understand this, when you're growing, you've got to keep an eye on putting in place the foundations for sustained growth, not just growth for today. And there are things that obviously hit home. When we're growing at 30, 40%, culture is really, really tough to maintain. You're bringing people in, a whole bunch of outside influence. How do you maintain culture? How do you maintain quality, consistent quality when you're growing at that sort of speed? You know, how do you drive appropriate teaming across the organisation? So this, for me, was actually day-to-day the most difficult task. And I will maintain it is much harder to manage, and I'll keep saying this, in a growth environment than it is in a non-growth environment. And this is one of the key reasons. How do you drive change when day to day the only signals that people get are we're doing okay? And so when I look back, if I look back what I should have done differently, I should have driven some of my changes 6-9 months earlier than I did. I should have trusted my gut, I should have trusted my instincts, and I should have taken the hard decisions, and I didn't do that. And that was something that, you learn those things as you go through these sort of environments. But if you see it, even if you're growing, there's things to do, you've got to take action ahead of time, even though they may not be particularly obvious to others around you. The other one, and this may be a real motherhood statement, but I can't emphasise this enough, you've got to know where you're going to grow. You need to know where you're going to focus in the market. You need to understand which issues, which domains you're going to focus on in the marketplace. And I often talk to partners, it's quite confronting, at Deloitte, and say it's about making choices. And we are hopeless, and I know what the science is about, making choices as human beings. We are very good at saying yes, but a true choice involves a no. Where are we not going to play? In fact, it doesn't have a no, it's actually not a choice. And that's one of the things and disciplines we're trying to drive in the organisation at the moment. This is, I believe, the most important single attribute for growth leadership of them all. I think it's the rarest. I think it's one that's absolutely underdone in Australia at a board and at a C-suite level in this country, and it's courage. The easiest thing you can do is manage the status quo and watch it every day. It's easy. Just keep doing what we're doing, optimise a couple of processes, take a few costs out, just increase margin by 0.5% here and there. We will manage the status quo. That is by far the prevalent management strategy in this country today. But if you're going to grow, the really nasty, horrible thing about growth, you've got to take a risk. You're going to have to invest hard dollars, people's time and effort. You may fail, it may work, but you cannot grow. This is an absolute given unless you invest, unless you make a choice somewhere with scarce resources. And that requires courage. It requires you to stand up and perhaps put your career and reputation on the line. Often it is the case. To finish, growth is fundamentally a mindset. If you believe you will grow and you're willing to look for opportunity, almost certainly you will. I mean, obviously I'm assuming there's some basic foundations around you. What is absolutely guaranteed though is if you do not think you will grow, if you are content managing the status quo, you're guaranteed not to grow. Absolutely categorically. I've seen it time and time again at an individual level. So I look at partners that I know will be part of a growth agenda who will never grow their portfolio. I look at businesses I look at organisations that I serve in the marketplace, and I can tell very, very quickly, looking at culture, whether they've got a chance, because it comes down to mindset. No, it's a hell of a lot more fun to be in an organisation and growing than one it isn't. So thanks very much.